Good morning and welcome everybody to our first session of today's virtual trade mission to Mexico. In this session, we're going to be talking about manufacturing opportunities and nearshoring opportunities in Mexico. Throughout today, if you are not aware, we're also doing sessions on aerospace and advanced materials, information technology, and agribusiness. And so strongly encourage you to tune in to those additional sessions if it would be helpful to you and your business. I'm grateful to everyone who's participating right here live on Zoom. We look forward to having an active discussion. We're also welcome everybody watching live on YouTube and all those who will watch a recording of this later on today or in the coming days. My name is Miles Hansen. I'm the president and CEO of World Trade Center Utah, and we're excited for the first time, to pair an in-person governor-led trade mission to Mexico, which will be happening in October, with these virtual engagements. Last year, it was an incredibly disruptive year for everybody. We've all learned to adapt and innovate and overcome. And now as we get back to in-person travel, we have an opportunity to take all these virtual tools that we've developed over the past 12 months and layer them in and combine them with the in-person interactions that we were accustomed to before 2020. And so this will be a virtual interaction that is calibrated towards creating opportunities and linkages between Utah and Mexico, helping your company explore opportunities and connect with people in Mexico, so that then over the course of the summer, we can help facilitate a lot of one-on-one interaction. So by the time we get there on the ground with the governor-led trade mission in October, we have the business deals well underway. And we've been able to leverage these virtual tools to make a lot of progress before we show up there in person in October, and before we have a group of companies coming from Guadalajara here to Utah in September. I'd like to recognize Courtney Ray and Patricia Cortez. Courtney is with the World Trade Center Utah team, and Patricia is working here at the Consulate of Mexico in Salt Lake City. They have been doing a tremendous amount of work to pull together today's virtual trade mission and all this interaction we're going to be having with Mexico in the coming months. I'm joined on screen by a couple phenomenal partners and friends here in Utah, and I'd like to turn things over to them and give them a chance to say hello. So Franz, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Franz Kolb, for those that don't know, if Utah were a country, Franz would be our Secretary of State. He leads that on all international protocol and diplomacy for Governor Cox and is a phenomenal partner with us as we prepare for this trade mission. So Franz, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Miles. My name is Franz Kolb. I'm the Director for International Trade, Diplomacy and Protocol in the Governor's Office of Economic Development. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate also at this important virtual conference. I'd like to, in behalf of the Governor and Lieutenant Governor and our team in the Governor's Office of Economic Development, welcome everybody. Mexico has been a wonderful, wonderful partner for us. I have served for a number of governors. Everyone has been in Mexico, and Mexico has been a great partner to the state of Utah. I'm so grateful for Jose Borjon, the council and his team, and the wonderful collaboration that has been existing over the years between the government of Mexico and the state of Utah. I just want to tell you one or two things. We are excited to put together this trade mission, this governor-led trade mission in October, and we are. It's going to be very, very productive, and we have made great inroads and introductions already. We've got some very good contacts. Congratulations to the World Trade Center team. Thank you, Miles. Thank you, Courtney and Hannah and everyone that has been putting this together. And thank you to our Mexican friends that are here, that are so that we can learn how to do business effectively with Mexico. With this, I'm so grateful. Thank you for that I can participate, and as they say, Viva Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Franz, very much for that. I'd also like to recognize and welcome Todd Bingham. Todd is the president and CEO of the Utah Manufacturers Association. Of course, we're talking about manufacturing today. And so, Todd, you've got such a great perspective on manufacturing here in Utah and the need to have strong and resilient supply chains for our manufacturers here in the state, and also partners. You know, we've seen a lot of disruption in Asia over the past couple of years and out of China. At the same time, we have a USMCA, and now we have the opportunity to nearshore to Mexico and find ways to partner and do more with Mexico. So thank you for joining us today, and welcome welcome your introductory remarks.
Thank you, Miles. It's a pleasure to be here today, and for our friends from Mexico, mucho gusto, buenos días. Es un placer estar juntos con ustedes hoy. Y that's about all the Spanish I know. My Portuguese is a lot better than my Spanish, but I will never forget my friend Jose Borjon for the last trip we took to Mexico, when he coerced me into doing a live on radio interview about maquiladoras and manufacturing and tariffs in China. And that was quite the test of my Spanish. So it was a pleasure. We as a Manufacturers Association are pleased to participate in this. We've participated in a number of trade missions over the last couple of years, and as things continue to get complicated in Asia, some issues with logistics, tariffs, you all know the things and the reasons why you're on the call today. The opportunity to look at Mexico as a reshoring opportunity is very significant. The workforce, the opportunities to get product logistically into Utah. Many of our manufacturers already have facilities down there, and on the last trade mission, we had an opportunity to visit a number of those, including Merit Medical and Innovar and Autoleave and others that have fabulous facilities down there. So it's my pleasure to be here today and look forward to this interaction, helping our manufacturers in Utah look at opportunities to address supply chain issues and look at how to be able to expand their facilities, find the workforce they need, and continue to be a driving force in the economy here in Utah. So Miles, thank you.
Thank you, Todd, for joining us. Jose, you are such a great partner and a friend of Utah. For those that don't know, Jose Borjon is a consul of Mexico here in Utah. As a former diplomat, I know how important it is to build very strong relationships wherever you're serving. And Jose, we consider you a part of Team Utah, which is a testament to how well of a job you're doing. And we know that Patricia is the one behind the scenes doing most of the work. And so we're grateful for Patricia as well. But Jose, thank you so much for convening our speakers today, for building out the program. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to introduce our speakers and then to take the program from there. So Jose, over to you.
Well, thank you, Miles, and thank you all for joining us today. This is a very important opportunity to learn more about Mexico and its different opportunities for the U.S. economy, but specifically for Utah. And I think we've had a good track record of working together, and I really look forward to today's presentation. So as I would like to take a minute to present our speakers, feel free to be thinking on your questions. There'll be an opportunity for questions and answers guided by Courtney, the Director of Global Business Services at World Trade Center. But also, remember, this is an ongoing conversation. So we'll be in touch if you have specific needs, through the World Trade Center, through the consulate, obviously through the Utah Manufacturing Associations and the government's office, GOED. So remember, we are establishing an opportunity for your business in Utah, in doing it with Mexico as a partner. We are a region, Mexico, Canada, and the United States, that competes and works globally, and you're looking for opportunities for your business here, and I think Mexico is your partner. Let me then introduce our speakers, and believe me when I say you have top of the line speakers today, because to begin with, we have Luis Manuel Hernandez, who is the president of the National Council of the Maquiladora Export Manufacturing Industry, pretty much the Mexican Manufacturing Association. He's the president. And not only he has this administrative post, but he has this experience behind the industry, and he is going to guide us to understand overall how does Mexico manufacturing is developed, where are there areas of opportunities regionally even, and that's why we talk about clusters for industries in certain places of Mexico. Remember, this is a large country with a lot of resources, but a very complex differentiation regionally. Luis Manuel Hernandez is from Mexicali in Baja California. He has a master in business administration from the Tecnológico de Monterrey. We pretty much say our MIT, and a PhD in business from Atlantic University. And as he has also been president of we call them IMMEX, the Maquiladora Manufacturing Industry Council of the region of Baja California, which is a very important region, as you may know, and as Todd was saying, we've done a couple of trips down there because there are already Utah industries working there for their businesses here. So he has also been the regional president of this organization, but has a wide career experience in the private sector, in the accounting, finance area of different important companies, both in the medical field and other areas. And he has been controller in different companies, and currently is the finance director of Jacuzzi de Mexico. But he's also an academic and a professor in different universities, including the Tecnológico de Monterrey, the CETIS Universidad, and San Diego State University. He has been a contributor to CFO magazine and is a counselor in several board of directors of important Mexican institutions like the Mexican Grupo Financiero Banorte, a financial institution, and the Economic Development Council for San Diego, as well as our National Finance Bank. Luis Manuel will begin talking about IMMEX, the manufacturing industry overall in Mexico. But as I said, it is so developed and integrated with the US that we have regional clusters. And that's why our second speaker is so relevant and important, because he will give us a perspective from a cluster, from a region, specifically Guadalajara, which is part of our trip for the World Trade Center mission in October, Mexico City and Guadalajara. So our second speaker will be Guillermo del Rio. He's from Guadalajara and is an industrial engineer, graduated from the Autonomous University of Guadalajara, with a master's degrees in administration from the University of Central Michigan. He has acquired experience of over 33 years in the electronic industry, starting in HP, IBM, Samina, and for the last 20 years in Flex. And he will explain us the relevance of this industry both in Mexico and for the United States. He has held positions in materials engineering and customer service, and served as program manager and business unit manager and general manager. So he knows the industry back and forth, and he's currently in charge of business development and customer relations and government for Flex plants in Mexico. He participates in different chambers such as IMMEX, but also Cadelec and Cañete, which is national industry for IT. So we have a great opportunity to see this at different levels, nationally, regionally, and I appreciate both Luis Manuel and Guillermo their time, and I don't want to take more and invite them. Let's begin with Luis Manuel Hernández. Buenos días a todos.
Thank you very much, Jose. So, well, who can help me out with the presentation, please?
Yes, I'll open that right now.
Thank you. Well, Jose, Rebecca, Miles, Courtney, thank you everybody for the invitation. Pretty much as Jose said, it is, right now I'm representing the maquiladora industry in Mexico. Just to give you a context, we are 6,000 companies doing manufacturing in Mexico, which are under the maquiladora regime, okay? If you take into consideration how many tax IDs are in Mexico, we would be only 0.03% of all the tax IDs in Mexico. However, that 0.03%, not even 1%, it represents 57% of the Mexico exportation trade balance, okay? So we are a small size, let's say, of companies which represent a lot of money for Mexico. What we do here is the presentation ready or not yet? I'm not seeing it, please. Hello. Can you hear me, Jose?
That should be showing now.
Yes, it is on screen now.
It is very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Can we go to the next one, please? Okay, what is the approach that we have right now in Mexico? And this will be for the next 3 years. Most of the economists are saying, and as well the government in Mexico, Canada, and the US. Okay, the first element that we have is the USMCA. Okay, that is one of the biggest trades that we will need to encourage and ensure that we are providing the best approach to it. What we're seeing right now is that many of the companies, as an example, the company that I work for, before COVID, we were 700 people. After COVID, we are more than 1,000 people. Okay, that represents a lot of market gain, and as well represents a lot of regionalization because of the way we purchase. Most of the things are coming from Asia. What we need to understand right now in the USMCA is what will be the approach from the US, what will be the approach from Mexico governments and Canada in order to, let's say, secure what we have on value chains. What we're seeing right now as well on the USMCA is that there are critical elements that we need to follow. Okay, those critical elements, I will cover those in a minute. However, we need to, the people that is here is we need to engage with the government and understand in each of the countries what they want to do, how they want to approach it. Okay, for instance, in regards to labor, which is the second element, labor is one of the largest elements that we have on the USMCA as a trade mission. Okay, we're talking about unions. Mexico has been known in the maquiladora industry for not having unions. There is a right not to have a union. However, there is a lot of progress and a lot of processes that we need to engage in order to have the right unions with the right industries and the right value chains. That is not one of the elements. The other element is that several states in Mexico, they have what we call the know-how of what to do. For instance, Tijuana is the largest medical cluster in Latin America. We have like 70 industries doing medical devices. Prior to that, it was Costa Rica. So you wanted to do something, let's say high-end medical device, you will go to Costa Rica, which is a small country. Now you go to Tijuana because you have from orthopedics, from pacemakers, from let's say, respiratory elements. There's many things going on about the labor pool that we have in Mexico. Other of the elements for the labor is that even though the salaries might be lower, there is this chapter in the USMCA that we need to scale up the salaries, okay? So right now we're competing not in a labor cost wise, it's in a productivity wise element. If you wanna set up a company in Mexico, the time to market will be faster than maybe the time to market in Asia. And what we learned from COVID as well is that the closer we are to our suppliers and the closer we are to our customer, the better understanding we have. Going to the value chains, what we're seeing right now is that how do we regionalize or have closer suppliers into us, into Mexico? That will be an element, and that is what I was discussing with Jose before. That is why I wanted to participate in this seminar. It is very critical for us to understand what we can provide. It might not be at the same price as Asia. It might be a higher price. However, the inventory wise, it might be better for us to see what are the elements, how can we approach, let's say, a best solution for value chains. What we're understanding right now is that companies in the automotive industry, in the aerospace industry, as well as the medical device industry, they're trying to look into what we can be provided between the USMCA, what can be provided from China, as an example, bring it down to Mexico, and just qualify them under the USMCA. So what we're seeing right now is that the China effect, and I'll cover that in a few minutes, will play a major role in value chains. COVID is the element that we're seeing that, say, as Courtney was saying, with this Zoom situation, what we'll learn is that many jobs will be done from home from now on, okay? Maybe finance jobs, maybe supply chain jobs, maybe purchasing jobs will be done from home. So that will give a larger footprint on the companies to have manufacturing. That is one element. The other element is that the safest the place is, the more engagement you will have from the people. What we're seeing right now is the questions. Before COVID, everybody would ask, you know what is the pay, vacation, pretty much everything dictated on the salary. Right now, people is asking, you know what, are you gonna give me a face mask? Can I get face masks for my family? Can I get, let's say, a testing for COVID? Can I get a testing once a year for my health? What is happening right now is that there is more engagement from people on their well-being, okay? What we're seeing on COVID and for the maquiladoras or manufacturing industry is those questions need to be addressed, not by corporate. They need to be addressed by their local companies in Mexico and then tie out to what we have in corporates. The biggest element here after COVID will be, can I maintain or keep my supply chain for a year without interruption? Another element, the fifth element here is foreign trade. Foreign trade for Mexico has been a key compliance issue. What we're seeing right now is that we will need to engage a little bit more and understand a little bit more where the product is going. It depends on where the product is going. If you can ship it back to the US or you can ship it from Mexico directly to Europe, as an example. Okay. What we're seeing right now is many of you in the call will know and understand what we call Incoterms. Okay. Incoterms in this international world, we can use it in several ways in Mexico. What we're seeing in foreign trade is that after COVID, many companies in Tijuana, many companies in Juarez, they are bringing their goods and they're shipping directly to the end customer. It can be done by sea, it can be done by ground, but what we're understanding right now as well in the foreign trade is that the knowledge of the product, the knowledge of the supplier, and the composition of product suppliers and value add will take let's say, a big toll of what is the cost that we will be providing the end customer. Finally, the Asia effect, okay? The Asia effect means, what will we do with China? Okay, we need to engage with them. We need to understand what they can provide. And maybe, and that is a big maybe, if they were doing maybe 70% of the manufacturing, they need to do 40% of the manufacturing in order for us in Mexico be the bridge between Mexico and the US so they can qualify to the USMCA. What we're understanding from China and Asia is they still want to get into the market, but the way the USMCA was framed, we need to comply with several elements, value add, component add. So many of the effects there, this is the let's say, the 5 elements, including the 6th one, which is the Asia effect, that we'll be seeing in the future for the maquiladora industry. We could go to the next one, please. Okay, this is what we call the correlation of the economy. The correlation of the economy pretty much tells us that before 1994, before NAFTA was signed, the correlation of the economy was 0.1, okay? The closer it gets to 1 is the better, okay? Right now, even with the trade and tariff effect that the prior US administration had with Asia, with Mexico, and with many other countries, the correlation is 0.75, okay? So that means that with the USMCA signed in 2020, what we're seeing is that we need to bump that up into a better number. As I said, the closer we get to 1, the better. What we're seeing right now is that the border towns, in order for the small businesses in the US, that because of this crossing situation, this border crossing situation, the maquiladoras and the supplier for the maquiladoras will be a key component for those states to reactivate in the next following months. You can go to the next one, please. This is manufacturing data in Mexico. We employ 3 million people, 3 million direct employments in Mexico. Every single day, the manufacturing industry in Mexico, the maquiladoras pay $95 million. Okay, those numbers are in dollars. So what I was explaining, the Ministry of Economy, and we have been explaining the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Economy as well, so Economy and the Ministry of Tourism, it is by paying 95 million every single day in Mexico to 3 million employees, we are just giving a lot of cash into a country that many countries will ask for it. Okay, so my message to the government is somebody is looking for these 95 millions. It might be China, it might be Vietnam, who knows. However, those 95 millions, they have a history of 50 years almost. Okay, what we see right now is that the knowledge and the know-how, as I was saying before, is the time to production and then the time to market. The time to production will be faster in Mexico than in many other countries. And the closer we are, the more that we are able to understand our customer. And then we provide $43 million in taxes every single day and $2 million in estate taxes, okay? So in Mexico, pretty much, we're talking about 130 million every single day that are being paid by the manufacturing industry. We'll go to the next one, please. This is pretty much a snapshot of what is happening in the border, okay? We have 6 states. Those 6 states, they have 1.7 million people working every single day there, okay? Out of the 95 millions that I was saying, almost 57 millions are paid in the border towns. The largest border town that we have in employment is Chihuahua with 416,000 people. The second largest is Baja California with 400,000 people. But industry-wise, Baja California has 1,100 industries doing manufacturing. So that is the largest footprint that we have in all Mexico. What we're seeing as well is that the most, let's say, effective relations with CBP, Customs Border Protection, with CTPAT, with all these US and in some of the cases, non-US structures and compliance matters are in the border towns because of the daily flow that we have, okay? What we're seeing as well is that this footprint can tell us through the US is that there's a large market. You have California, you have Arizona, you have New Mexico, Texas. There are many large states there that we will have. Some of us will have the corporate offices there that allow the trade and that allows all what we call here in Mexico, the vocations. The people know what to do and how to do it. We'll go to the next one, please. This is a little bit of what were the incentives that each of the government gave when COVID struck, okay? Mexico, as you know, is down at the bottom here. They didn't provide a lot of, we didn't provide a lot of incentives. However, one of the main goals that we have in the manufacturing industry is just to match what the US has for an essential business to what we have in Mexico. In Mexico, there is an essential, non-essential classification of businesses. What we're trying to do right now with the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Labor is, how do I define essential, okay? Because with the USMCA, it needs to be embedded there, it needs to be included there. Otherwise, we'll just struggle with this like we struggled in 2020. Go to the next one, please. This is a little bit of what happened on the employment. Employment will be the red line there, and investment will be the blue line. What we're seeing right now is it was pretty much all across Mexico, is that when COVID struck us, what we see is employment, say, going up, unemployment going up, and investment going down. Right now, what we're seeing is investment is coming back. Investment is growing. What we're seeing in Mexico is like this K-shaped growth. Many companies are going up. What we're seeing as well on employment is that by June this year, we'll be adding 130,000 more jobs to the ones that we have a year ago. So what we're seeing is that maybe companies are not coming in, but they are increasing their volumes. They are increasing their footprint. Every single year, Mexico receives $8 billion on assets for the manufacturing industry. On 2020, with COVID, we received $5 million, okay? So what we're expecting for this year is like $10 million investment. And this is pretty much market related. Most of the people is bumping up inventory. You know the shortages that we have on resin, you know the shortages we have on chips. However, that is not stopping us from just growing in Mexico. You go to the next one, please. I think it will be the last one. And at the end of the day, is many of you will be associated or related to this purchase management index. Okay, this PMI average, what tells you is that everything above 50 is good. So right now, what we're seeing for 2021 will be around the 61, 65s in Mexico. What we see is the higher it gets, the better it gets. So if we correlate this slide of the PMI with the correlation on the slide that we had, is the more it grows in the US, the PMI, the better it goes for Mexico. Can you go to the next one, please? And then finally, this is the last slide, and I'll be open to questions or concerns. What we'll be doing and what we're doing on the index is starting this year is we're trying to educate people, to educate governments. This is an electronic magazine that we're sharing. I'm happy to share it with you guys if you require it. We have this on a monthly basis. We know that people in China is reading it. What we do here is we have the experts, people that is doing businesses here, the do's and don'ts, what is expectation, what is happening in China, how do we approach supply chains, which is this jurisdiction for April. So what we're trying to do is, if we educate, we can replicate the success, okay? At the end of the day, we're here to help. Feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to ask the questions. If you wanted to invite us or you want to be part of the board, let us know. We can do that. I think that is the last slide, correct? You go to the next one. Maybe yes, the final one. Yeah, that is the last slide. Any questions you have, feel free. Thank you very much and have a great day, everybody.
In charge every time you process it.
If we can ask now Mr. Guillermo del Rio to follow with his presentation. Thank you very much, Luis Manuel.
Okay, so let me, I don't know if you are already seeing my screen.
Yes, yes, we are. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me for this trade session. So I'm gonna share you the story of Cadelec that is basically focused on supplier development in the state of Jalisco. We are based in the city of Guadalajara, where we have a lot of companies that are high-tech industries. Guadalajara is considered the Mexican Silicon Valley. We have a lot of electronics here, and even that we are far from the border, basically by car 1 day distance. Well, we have a lot of people educated, strong labor skills, and a lot of engineering skills. So the mission that we have is to develop strategies and actions to increase the level of national content, to incorporate the SMEs into the supply chain, and to promote consolidated purchases across all the companies and the high tech. The vision that we have is that to be a key player of the high technology industry for supply and development, and to strengthen all the supply chains. We have 4 main vectors, which is basically to have market intelligence, to work incentives and grants from government for the local companies, also to work on the supplier development, and to have the industrial promotion. Here we have the complexity matrix of the economy of Mexico. This is last year picture. Here we are seeing all the imports we did from the world Being in the first frame in dark blue, you can see that electronics is the main industry where we are bringing goods into Mexico. Then the automotive industry, especially parts for vehicles. Then we have the oil, but here we have also metal, medical products, all related to health, and plastics as very important sections, and then the rest spread with many different commodities. Last year we had a positive trade balance, with a surplus of 34 billion. Where are the parts coming from? Well, United States is our main supplier with 54% of all the imports. Then Asia, it's also a very important player, especially when we are talking about electronic components, and then Europe and South America. In the case of the exports, here we have also the picture. Last year, Mexico exports were 417 billion, being also electronics the main industry. Then all the cars that we are exporting, oil, medical products, and metal, also as a very important players. Where are we sending the products to? Well, again, America, very important for us. 80% of all our exports goes to United States, Canada, or Central America, and the rest goes to Asia, Europe, and South America. This is a picture of what Luis was explaining, all the IMMEX companies that are consolidated in the index industry, all the maquiladora industry. So this picture is just for the manufacturing portion last year, where 374 billion were export. So the IMMEX companies represents 62% of the national exports and 61.5% of the national imports. We are talking about 3 million employees in these IMMEX industries, and 2.7 million are related to manufacturing, the rest for services. And in the chart that we have in the right, you can see that just 8% of our our material is purchased in Mexico. Is the national content that we have. The rest is coming from the rest of the world. And what he was explaining, all the salaries, taxes, and the profit that we have. If we take a snapshot of Jalisco state, well, last year our exports were 20 billion. The IMMEX companies represent 68% of the exports of Jalisco, having 200,000 employees in this maquiladora industry. And the material consumption was close to 11 billion last year. Out of that, 869 million are already being purchased here in Mexico. So we did an analysis of all the components that we are using. The material, here we can see the breakdown. We have a lot of electronics, but also we have mechanical parts and a lot of different components. So this year we decided to focus on the mechanicals, the 18% that we are showing here in the chart. What we consider it's at this moment a good opportunity for Mexico to develop mechanical parts. The electronics is more difficult, so that's why we decided this year to focus on mechanicals. So here we did also an analysis on that 18% of the mechanicals, being metals and plastics, the main parts. We have also packaging, raw material, and mechanical components. And the other thing that we realized is that 70% of these parts are already in approved vendor list controlled by our customers. The rest, the 30%, is in the category of open source. That means that we can go and buy where we decide. So for this 30%, we also did another analysis, staying plastics and metals as the main contributors. And the other thing that we realized is that 30% is already purchased locally, and the 70% is coming from the rest of the world. So that means that 434 million is the opportunity that we have as a low handling fruit. So here we have the breakdown of these 434 million, where we have metals and plastics as the main contributors. In the case of each category, we are showing the main processes or products that are required. Also for mechanical components, packaging, and raw material. So here I'm also showing the clusters or the products that are being produced mainly in the state, being automotive a very important player. Basically, auto parts that are based on electronics, and we have infotainments, scanners, energy storage, a lot of boards to control different products. We have antennas, lighting, steering wheel controllers, clusters, lamps. So many different type of products. I'm not showing all of them, but this is just some representative products. We have also a lot of lifestyle products, such as the ones related to energy, as inverters or smart bulbs, lamps, drivers. We have home appliances, vending machines, digital access door control, set-top boxes, smart grids for energy, water, or gas, and sound systems. Also, healthcare is a very important cluster. Here we have a lot of products. We have gadgets that are very small and easy to find, but we also have very complex products related to health, such as the resonance, magnetic resonance imaging, or the portable ultrasound monitors, or genomic analyzers, etc., etc. Also, communications is a very important cluster here in the city. We have a lot of cabinets, big cabinets, servers, complex PCBAs, blades, backplanes, routers, switches, and all the products required for the storage of information. So the value add that we have in Cadelec is basically to identify the business opportunities, to promote the B2B meetings. We have indicators, we provide support and supply identification, and we have the contact with local and federal authorities, and we provide support for potential governmental incentives. We work on selection and having consultants, and also we have a network of subject matter experts. This year we are working on promoting to have consolidated purchases across all the different companies. We are having workshops to educate and to strengthen the SMEs capabilities. This year, we are going to have B2Bs for mechanical commodities, sorry. The data analytics is very important for us. It's all the information that I presented. If we have good information, we can have good decisions. And we are sending surveys to all the players to have information and to detect all the needs that they have. We are promoting the best practices that we are having in all the companies here in the region, and working on business cases when we are trying to attract potential suppliers or to have foreign direct investment. So that's basically what I have to present. I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of our speakers and our partners for helping to put this together. We're so grateful. We are now going to go into the Q&A. Jose, do you want to comment before I dive into that?
No, I just want to emphasize that we were able to see today both the national perspective of the Mexican manufacturing industry as well as the regional, and invite people to our next sessions, which will delve into specific sectors. But just remember, when you saw in the presentations IMMEX, IMMEX, this is what we know as the Maquiladora program, which basically allows foreign manufacturers to import raw materials and components into Mexico, tax and duty-free, under the condition that 100% of all the finished goods will be exported out of Mexico. That is the driver of Mexican manufacturing, and the possibility for US companies, for businesses here in the States. Thank you, Courtney, and we look forward. Please remember that we'll be in touch if you have specific questions through the World Trade Center and Courtney, who's the Director of Global Business Services. Thank you.
Great. So just before I get into some of the questions, I just wanted to assure everyone on the call, we got lots of great questions coming into this virtual trade mission. And just like we did for the first one, introducing you to Mexico, we will get back to everyone with their questions. A lot of people had very specific questions about types of manufacturing they're interested in, type of manufacturing they're interested in. So we won't address very specific things right now, but we will get back to each of you individually, either through the Mexican consulate or through US Commercial Services or through our group, and answer those questions. So we'll keep it a little more broad so that everyone can actually understand for the bigger picture, and then again, get back to you specifically. I would also encourage each of you to look at our website at WTC or World Trade Center World Trade Center Utah, where we talk about the grants that are available for small to medium-sized businesses that can help you either go on the trade mission that will be in mid-October, or help you with other services that can help your company grow internationally. So I wanted to address two things in the chat that I thought were sort of interesting for our speakers to address. For those, so this is either for Luis or Guillermo, whomever feels is better to address this. For those companies wanting to manufacture in Mexico, but they've had a hard time finding good suppliers or sub-suppliers to meet their needs, it can either be outside suppliers or Mexican suppliers. What are the resources that can help them find these reliable, high quality, lower cost suppliers?
Guillermo, do you want to take it or should I take it?
You want go first, and I will add comments if necessary.
You will correct me, okay?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. I would say one of the best options if you want to identify suppliers is what we call a supplier day, okay? What we do is you don't provide us your name, we don't provide your name. What we say, you know what, this supplier is looking for these 5 options, okay? What we do in IMMEX, what we're trying to motivate companies is to get a good share of what's going on outside, which suppliers are ready, but most importantly, which are the suppliers that are almost ready, okay? Because you will find better prices and maybe a direct connection with suppliers that are almost ready. And I'll give you an example. A company that was established in Tijuana they requested people that could do specific soldering process, okay, welding process, sorry. We couldn't find it, they couldn't find it. What we did a tournament of welding, okay? And many of the people that came in, they found out jobs, or they found out how to supply with welding processes, okay? They were small businesses that right now, they are not big businesses, but they are supplying to the maquiladora. That is one of the approach that we have. Another approach that we have is we need to understand specifically what you need, and we can find out for you which will be the best state, okay? If you ask me, or you ask Guillermo, he will say, you know what, I want them coming here to where I live. That is not what we see, okay? That is Guillermo and myself, we say, well, the best option for you might not be either where Guillermo is or I'm here. Maybe it might be Querétaro, it might be Juarez. It will depend a lot. So you can reach out to us, feel free, we can help you. And we have done it before, okay?
So sorry, Luis, just to be specific, should they use your email, or do you want to post here another person's email that they should contact?
You can use my email. You can use my email. What I will do is I'll just connect them, and they can follow up with IMMEX directly, okay?
Okay, great. Guillermo, is there anything you want to add, or should we move on to our next question?
No, the only thing is that we work very closely with IMMEX, so they have the picture of the whole Mexico suppliers, and sometimes we have more detail on the suppliers based in Jalisco. So I think in this case, national index is a better channel to get information.
Great, thank you. Sort of along those lines, is there a list or database of manufacturers in Mexico that deal with the different types of products? So we have about 140 people on this call, and they range from everything from aerospace to textiles, et cetera. And we have a lot of questions on specific types of industries. So is there a list or database? I mean, I know we can send them to Jose and Patricia, but so that they are not completely overwhelmed, I'd love to know if there is some database they can start with that would help them really understand their options in terms of the manufacturers for their specific type of product.
Yeah, same answer, Courtney. They can reach out to us. Sorry, what we do is what we call we send a letter, supplier connection, and we would say, you know what, this company X company is looking for this. Okay, so they will send us information, and we'll send that to you. So you are not going through the internet and all.
That's great.
That helps a lot.
Perfect, thank you. And anyone who's sending that information to Luis and his team, feel free to CC us too, just so that we know how we can be helpful too on the other end. And especially as we look at the live trade mission, it's helpful for us to know who's actually following through and who really wants to do business down there. It helps us to set up our trade mission to reflect the needs of Utah companies. So along those lines as well, to Luis or Guillermo, can you tell us what to expect? So once a company contacts you and they have been lucky enough to sort of get, you know, a group of manufacturers that might be appropriate for their company, is there usually a go-between? Should they expect no fee, a fee? We obviously always have to be careful of the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. So is there a go-between where there's just a fee involved? Is there something that they should just go directly to the contacts that you have? I just want to know what they should expect so that everyone's on the up and up in terms of, so that there's no misunderstanding on the Utah company's part.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that for preliminary information, we don't have any fee. We normally provide the information or put them in contact with the right players. In many cases, when they want to come and to start operations here in the city, we put in contact them with the people from government for a soft landing support, or maybe with an industrial park. So at the beginning, it's basically no charge. Then if based on the needs and what is going to be required, when we can decide what's going to be the charge. But basically, we are talking about just a few dollars.
Okay, perfect. And just sort of along those lines, if someone's really new to manufacturing in Mexico, just so they don't sort of bother you up front and not knowing, is there a place to go to just learn in general about, textile manufacturing in Mexico that's a reliable source? Is that also indexed, or is it, so they can just gather more information generally about what to expect and any, general info?
We can provide you what a maquiladora is. We have like Maquiladora 101. It'll be Spanish and English. We can share that with you. You can share that with all the people there. And there is a contact, as Guillermo said, you can contact people in IMMEX. They work for IMMEX. If you want something more specific, we can give you more guidance depending on the process.
Great. I also wanted to mention to our Utah companies, particularly those in aerospace, but I'm hoping that maybe this could be something we could do across the various clusters. I happened to speak with Ambassador Tomas Cibaja yesterday, who's the head of the aerospace cluster in Mexico. And he told us about an event that's happening in California in 2 weeks, where they are doing a virtual matchmaking event with the suppliers from California, meeting up with the buyers in Mexico. Some of those are American buyers, like a Honeywell or something, and sometimes it's a Mexican buyer, but it's matching them together where you submit a one-pager, or both of you do, you see if there's a match, and then if there is, there's a 15-minute meet and greet to see if they're, one, they'll know if your products are a match. Two, then they'll see if there's a match, verbally once you have a 15-minute conversation. And then once there will be a follow-up session in more depth to see what you can do to match. They have told us that they will do that for Utah companies in aerospace. So I'm not sure if that's something that the other clusters would be interested in as well. But for those of you in aerospace, please look forward to an invitation to that. We'll hopefully do by June with the aerospace cluster in Mexico. But I think that's a really great way to also, once you've done some research, if you're not doing this on your own time and you're anxious to matchmake as soon as possible, that's a really good way to do that. So do you know if, Luis and Guillermo, do you know if any of the other clusters are doing that, or is that sort of an out of the box thing that aerospace has been doing?
Actually, we're participating on that. Guillermo and myself are participating in that on electronics. If you want to do something on textiles, if you want to do something on electronics specifically, feel free, let us know, we can do it. And pretty much, if you want to say people that are doing textiles, 2 of the members of the board from Baja California, they own textile companies in Baja California. So they are sole owners from Maquiladora. They came from the US. They are there. You can contact them. This matchmaking, we can do it. That is pretty much what we do. We alleviate the effort of you going to a law firm or going to somebody else. We can give you maybe the basics, and then you move on to whatever you decide.
Great. Thank you. We're looking forward to that. Thank you. We are almost out of time. So I just wanted to sort of ask one more question. I know that there's been a real push to having more technology in the manufacturing process for efficiencies. We have a lot of great IT companies here in Utah. Can you talk a little bit more about this and talk about any IT that would be helpful for you across your manufacturing businesses? I mean, it might just be very specific, but if there's anything in particular that that you are looking for and need as you always look for efficiencies, that would be helpful, I'm sure, for some of our IT companies to hear.
Yeah, we'll keep that to Guillermo. He knows more than.
Yeah, for all the IT companies, we have a lot of different companies here in the city. So I work very close with Canieti. They concentrate all the IT companies, and well, you can contact me and I put in contact with them. Different type of IT solutions.
Okay, great. Okay, let me just see. One more question related. We had a bunch of questions related to China, but I think, is there any just broad advice you would have, because some of these are quite specific, of people who want to move their factories and manufacturing from China to Mexico? Is there anything, I know, in terms of law that's quite specific, but is there anything that they should know in terms of major differences in manufacturing from Mexico versus China? I mean, aside from it being obviously closer with the supply chain, is there anything in terms of the legal side that they should be aware of that has come up frequently or not?
Go ahead, Guillermo. Or should I?
If you want, I can say, and I can respond and then you can complement. But basically, we put you in contact with the people from economic development in order to get support. Labor regulations here are totally different than in China. The supplier base is reduced compared with China, but here we have very strong labor skills, and it's very easy to do business, to bring goods into Mexico and to export. We have a lot of different trades and regulations that are very easy to manage. But the idea is to get support from the chambers and from government.
Great. So we could have them connect with you, and then you could connect them with the appropriate chambers or economic development people who could help them. Great, because we had about 5 or 6 questions related to that and some variation.
Yeah, and some companies, they prefer to use a shelter company to help them to have a soft landing. So that way they will focus just on the manufacturing, and the shelter company will take care of all the trade compliance, hiring the people, all the different regulations required in Mexico.
Great. Well, I want to be sensitive to time. I know we have a full day today, and I want to thank our speakers so much, and of course, Jose and Patricia for helping to arrange this. And we look forward to being in touch with you. Please reach out as needed. It sounds like you have a lot of resources, and Luis and Guillermo and Index sounds like a really terrific resource. Again, CC me, and that will help us to guide our live trade mission. Look at our website for any resources where we can be helpful. And anyone who has questions which were not answered, and I know there are a lot of those, I promise we will get back to you. Thank you so much, everyone. And we will look forward to seeing the rest of you for any of the rest of the breakout sessions during the day. Have a great morning.
Bye.
Bye.